magianjao Yesu mia tekona lucha Yuano Teko Manko Yesu monalo
Remember Ebola, Cyclone Idai, HIV denialism.
How does a virus cause a syndrome?
Fanya hivi tafadhali watibu kama wanateko yaya ayaye baba anadua anoteko mankuo amondalo tuenjaye pini pinyo poko dimoko oyuma agiajao Yesu mia teko na lucha Duano Teko Manko Ani Mondalo Bini Opo Yesu mia teko Twashukuru Kristo Yesu. Asante sana.
Asante sana. Wapi makofi yake tafadhali? Shukran. Basi kwa sasa tunakaribisha Kenyatta National Hospital wakaweze kutuimbia wimbo mmoja. Baada ya Kenyatta National Hospital tutaenda kupata Kenya Ports Authority Choir. Kenya Ports Authority Choir, tafadhali tukae on standby wakati Kenyatta National Hospital wanatuimbia. Kenyatta, uwanjani wenu.
Samahani, wanapojitayarisha niko na tangazo la itifaki. Una sehemu maalum upande wangu wa kulia, Ochola yuko hapo, ambapo imetengewa viti vya familia, vile vile viti vya maafisa kutoka afisi mbalimbali za baba yetu mpendwa, moja ikiwa afisi ya Capitol Hill, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Foundation na Chungwa, hali kadhalika zingine ambazo majina huwa yamebanwa, lakini wenyewe ambao wanastahili kukaa hapo wamewasili. Ninaomba wapewe nafasi yao. Maafisa wa itifaki tushirikiane. Asante. Kwaya
Luchando lumwe kololwa andala la ko Luchando lumwe kololwa andala la ko No wano wacha yakatika reko Chaya katika reo Uru jendo no mwe mwekoro lwa gandalala rujendo mwekoro lwa gandalala no wachanya katika reo no wachanya katika reo no wita mundo no wita mundo chibora no wita mundo no wita mundo wita mundo no wita mundo
Asante sana Kenyatta National Hospital Choir. Hivi sasa tutawapisha Kenya Ports Authority Choir ili waweze kutuimbia wimbo mmoja. Asante sana. Kenya Ports Authority Choir. Kwa wimbo It Is Well. Basi sasa hivi nitaenda kumwalika Christine Otieno akaweze kutupatia wimbo. Christine, tafadhali uwanjani wako. Vigelegele vya Christine. Asante sana Christine. Sasa hivi nitaenda kualika Tabi and the team waweze kutupa. Tuendelee.
Wakati Tabi anajiandaa, nifanye tangazo la itifaki. Mkuu wa itifaki anayeshughulikia Luo Council of Elders, ninaomba uchukue ujumbe huo na uwaelekeze sehemu inayofaa. Vile vile wafanyekazi wa kampuni ya Spectra International, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Foundation na Capitol Hill Square. Wakati huo Jothurwa adwa na konunia wangi yawa moya kuonde maboyo to wangi yawa moya Migori mose chopoka hotel negi giwuodo ganda ochila yako wangi yawa moya Kisumo hotel negi gi Professor Nyang'yongo wangi yawa moya Homa Bay hotel negi gi Governor Gladys Wanga wangi yawa moya Kisii hotel negi gi Simba Arati wangi yawa moya Mombasa hotel negi gi Governor Abdul Swamad Sharif Nasir wangi yawa moya Nairobi hotel negi gi Governor Sakaja gi Speaker Kennedy Okeyo Ng'ondi. Ero urukamano Tabi.
Kinedutonya saeme katapelano nyaseme oh nyaseme Emomia wero nyasaebe kineduto nyasaebe kineduto nyasaebe kineduto nyasaebe kineduto nyasaebe ine mawalongo nyingi okinyi makawono onge machelo mapimo kodi kawono
Tangazo muhimu sana tena la dharura. Naomba maafisa wa usalama sasa hapa. Huu msongamano tunataka nafasi nzuri. Naona kuna wapiga picha hapa, kuna sehemu yenyu maalum. Tunahitaji nafasi nzuri ili sasa tuweze kupokea mwili na wageni rasmi kwa heshima. Naomba sasa hapa iwe very clear. Tafadhali sana. Hapa iwe very clear. Iwe very clear ili mgeni akifika anaingia moja kwa moja. Huo umati ulio hapo naomba kwa heshima. Kwa heshima sana. Kwa heshima sana, we must have a very clear path.
Tafadhali wale mnaotangaziwa kuhusu hiyo nafasi tuweze kuipeana iweze kuwa wazi. Najua kwamba wale mlioko pale tusiweze kutumia nguvu kuingia kwenye jukwaa la Mheshimiwa Rais. Hivyo basi hauhusiki pale, peana nafasi hiyo. Tuliweza kutengea kila mmoja nafasi yake anapostahili. Waheshimiwa naona wameketi vizuri pale chini, lakini wale tumesimama tuwe nyuma ya hiyo gari iko na carrier juu. Tafadhali tusiweze kuhusisha maafisa wa usalama, tunaomba tupeane nafasi hiyo. Peane nafasi hiyo kwa heshima na iwe sawa. Endelea mwenzangu.
Asante ndugu. Basi almradi tuendelee kama tulivyopanga. Ninaomba tena kwa unyenyekevu mkubwa maafisa wa itifaki tushirikiane kwa karibu ili sehemu hiyo isalie wazi. Sisi ni watu wastaarabu wenye mipango iliyoenda shule. Kwa hivyo mgeni akifika anachukuliwa na afisa wa itifaki na kuelekezwa sehemu yake. Studio.
Kine
tutoke tafadhali, kwa heshima, wacha nigeuke tu tuangaliane. Upande wa jukwaa rasmi la Mheshimiwa Rais, tafadhali ninaongea na jukwaa rasmi la Mheshimiwa Rais. Ikiwa umeketi hapo kwa minajili ya kushikia kiti mheshimiwa, iwe wewe ni protocol officer wake ama wewe ni security wake, sasa hivi toka kwa kiti, itoka kwa hiyo dais, peana nafasi hiyo. Viti vimeweza kuwekwa tag na tag iko na maana yake. Kwa heshima tu tuweze kufanya hivyo sasa hivi na tutoke. Wale watu wote ambao wako kwa jukwaa rasmi la Mheshimiwa Rais, ikiwa wewe ni protocol officer wa mheshimiwa na umeketi kwa minajili ya kumshikia kiti, naomba kwa heshima, actually sio ombi, kwa heshima tuweze kutoka hapo, kwa sababu kila kiti kimewekwa tag na hiyo tag iko na maana yake. Tutoke hapo, tuwache protocol officer ile ya government reception na security ya presidential escort pamoja na KDF waweze kuteki charge ya dais. Narudia kwa mara ya mwisho, iwapo wewe umeketi hapo kwa minajili ya kuweza kushikia nafasi mheshimiwa wako ama wewe ni security officer, tafadhali ondoka kwa hiyo dais, uachie government reception officers, presidential escort unit na vile vile wale KDF protocol officers ambao wako hapo. Kwa heshima tuweze kupeana nafasi hiyo. Wale wote ambao wamesimama, keti chini, mupeane nafasi hiyo. Asanteni. Upande wa pili wa studio tuendelee.
Pigia Yesu makofi ya juu ya juu. Yesu siepna, ere namaloi, anabaki tungepinda. Ere namaloi, aya. Yesu siepna, ere namaloi, anabaki tungepinda. Apengeta ere namaloi, Yesu siepna, ere namaloi, anabaki tungepinda. Ere namaloi, Yesu siepna, ere namaloi, anabaki yetu ngepinje.
Kuna interview pale kwa Murkomen anaendelea, then tuwarudisha
Vita inaendelea lakini
Mwalimu. Wewe mane. Oh, kuna nyisi yako kaka miel. Nyisi yako no miel. Miel ya mama. Di chache ni. You just say miel luru. Nini kanya miel luru? Chache. Itu udah.
Asante sana.
Check. Asante.
Naomba tafadhali wale ambao tuko kwa hii presidential dais, all security and protocol officers kindly exit. All security and protocol officers please exit. Then the rest, let's take our seats. Mahali tutakapoketi uketi na ubaki hapo until guided by, or rather until you're guided by protocol officers. GRO, please let's exit this tent. All PAs, protocol officers, security that are in this tent, we are kindly requesting that you exit. Tafadhali. Let me repeat,
the convoy that you're currently seeing on your screen, behind that
protocol
convoy,
officers, security PAs in the presidential
who
dais,
have decided
please
to escort
take
by
leave
foot this
so that we can now rearrange and organize the space. Na wale ambao wako pale, tafadhali tuketi. Take your seat. Studio.
convoy that is currently ferrying or rather transporting the ODM leader Raila Odinga'S. So momentarily there will be
tungoje interview hapa ishe kidogo. Just hold kidogo, tutaanza huo wimbo from the top. My apologies, we'll start it from the top. Just hold on kidogo. But meanwhile, to take advantage of this opportunity, those of us getting into the presidential dais, please let's exclude the PAs, the security detail, wote wasingie tafadhali. Let's only have the dignitaries, and the dignitaries that are in the presidential tent, please let's take our seats. It is already 8:30. We are expecting in another few minutes we should be getting started. So please let's settle down. Naomba tafadhali tuweze kuketi. Tafadhali tuweze kuketi.
Asante. Nam jothurwa akwayo joma ni chien mondo kiyiena kik dhiri man mbele ka. Wawinjore kuneno kaka jolweny pangore, waikore rwako ringruok mar wuodwa Amolo. Amolo. Jothurwa Amolo. 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 Amolo yamo. Amolo tinga. Amolo nyundo. Amolo jakom. Amolo chuny piny. Amolo chuny piny. Raila Amolo Raila Amolo
Odinga.
erokamano. Koro kaka wan gi kwe kamano ka ringruok chopo to beda kumintiere no kiki sud oridhir nyawadu katana.
Asante sana mwenzangu St. Michael, tuendelee tafadhali.
And I believe also there are some various other members of the public, locals from far, wide and beyond, even behind the house that is carrying Raila Odinga, which again was sort of like a good choice to move it by road. Again, one last moment.
Indeed, of course, that particular flag as well, Doreen, and handkerchiefs, white handkerchiefs, of course, they were also waved yesterday at Mamboleo. Of course, a sight to behold, given that the ODM leader Raila Odinga'S advocated for peace. We all know what the white color means in various aspects. But you're correct, Doreen, the people are respecting the convoy that is currently being led by the National Police Service, the military, in conjunction with other security apparatus, just to ensure that the body reaches where it's intended to be, at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. Of course, that contrast, Doreen, you're bringing in terms of what happened here at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport when the body was expected to be taken to Lee Funeral Home, then afterwards to Parliament buildings. That was not the case because the crowd that had congregated not just inside the presidential pavilion at JKIA but outside JKIA itself, they even had the opportunity to take their motorbikes inside JKIA, a sight that has never been seen, especially in that particular international airport. But the people of Siaya have at least adhered to what the security personnel have urged them to do, not to interfere or jump across the convoy that is currently slowly and steadily making its way at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. But Doreen, interestingly, if we could also get those shots, and hopefully we'll get them outside the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology, the buses, especially the school buses, and we'll be seeing on our screens in just a few, given that they're expected to arrive there any moment from now. There is a traffic snarl-up outside Just, as well as the members of supporters of ODM as well as mourners have also congregated outside Joseph. So it will be a little bit of a headache for the security personnel to be clearing that in just a few, especially for dignitaries such as President William Ruto, who walks around with a number of security personnel due to the status he's holding currently as the commander-in-chief, as well as the deputy president in tandem with the first and second family, who walks around with a number of security personnel. But that could be a contrast, especially to what we witnessed here at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. You can see on your screens, dear viewer, those buses are parked as far as that, Doreen, so that the people can at least, once the service ends, they can at least go back to Opoda Farm to continue mourning with the family.
And I can tell you, actually when I was coming in the morning, and you would hear some, even Matatu touts asking, for those going to Siaya, these are them. And you'd wonder at 5 a.m. that people who are trying to board buses just to go to Siaya to mourn Raila Odinga speaks of the love and the love that they have for the man that is Raila Odinga. But also, as you speak of peace, this reminds me of the message from Mama Ida yesterday, where she expressed some bit of distraught, especially given the kind of chaos that was witnessed in Nairobi on Thursday when the body touched down JKIA. You remember there was a bit of stalemate. Some minutes running into hours before the body left there. As you mentioned, it was supposed to move to Lee, Parliament, then Kasarani, but there was a quick change of plans, and that was just directly moved to Kasarani Stadium. That's the Moi International Sports Center in Kasarani, because of the mammoth, as you call it, the crowd that had just gathered around JKIA, and that trickled into Mombasa Road, into the expressway, moving very, very slowly. And that is part of what had been expected also yesterday again, when the body touched down at the Kisumu International Airport from from Nairobi all the way, and that's part also of what informed not moving by road but also being airlifted to the Mamboleo Stadium, and again being airlifted to Opada Farm, where the body is now living as it's coming to Jost. But it's really quite interesting just seeing how peaceful it is following that call from Mama Ida, because she really rightfully put it that Raila Odinga was loved by many, and as following his death, she is mourning as the widow, the children are mourning, community, friends, various other relatives are mourning, looking at the kind of leaders that have come from far, wide and beyond from various countries. There are those who are sending prime ministers, there are heads of states and government, former heads of states and government are also, coming. Just a clear indication of the kind of man that he is. So it's very important to just maintain peace. I mean, we wouldn't want to see chaos. I mean, for such kind of leaders to see chaos just because we are mourning Raila Odinga. He was someone who advocated for peace, and we can hark back to history in the number of times he really advocated for peace when he just came together to form pacts. We can hark back to the 90s with the NDP and KANU to form New KANU. We can hark back to the time when, after the 2007-2008 post-election violence that ended up forming the Grand Coalition government. We can hark back to 2018 with the handshake, and just recently in March with the broad-based government. All this to ensure that there's peace. So how bad would it be that this time that is being laid to rest and now we want to cause chaos? There's a better way to mourn Raila Odinga. There's a better way, an easier way to view his body in a peaceful manner. And she really called for that yesterday, and we are seeing that today. In fact, these are some of the areas that there's those who would have expected chaos, given the kind of history this area has had, especially during elections, during and post-elections. But just look at the kind of peace. In fact, it looks like they are really obeying when the security agencies are telling them to move away from the road. They are just really listening. But also we've seen them, as you mentioned, carrying the white handkerchief. There are those who had tied headbands with the national flags. And also on that part of the split screen, I'm also seeing Masengeli with the interior CS. Again, obviously, just perhaps discussing security measures to ensure that that is put in place. But also, as I was saying, some waving the Kenyan flag. And again, this is just a sign of peace. You've seen the red carpet well placed, leading to the tent where his body will be placed, and also leading to the tent where the dignitaries would be seated, and everyone is just waiting for that body to arrive there. Looks like there's a pause.
Yes, the reason why they're opposing, I told you a little bit earlier on, Doreen, is that the buses that were ferrying people, as well as the people who are outside the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology, are currently being cleared to allow the body to enter the university, because this is where the final state funeral will be held for the ODM leader Raila Odinga. And that is why the convoy now has stopped, and they will be going at a slower pace. But I'll tell you that thousands have congregated outside that particular gate, and of course the security personnel are trying to at least reason with them and urge them to allow the family and the casket that is currently hosting the ODM leader Raila Odinga to enter at least so that it can be situated where the military has already set up. Also important to note, Doreen, is that President William Ruto has already arrived at the venue, and the president will be shown in just a few, currently held up in the VIP section. Of course, once the president is around, that means even the co-chair and the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, that is Abraham Kithure Kindiki, is also around. In terms of assuring the security, we heard it from the Interior Cabinet Secretary, also having conversations, as Doreen has told you on your screen. You're witnessing the DIG, that is Gilbert Masengeli, who started, of course, leading the charge even yesterday at Mamboleo grounds, where he was even forced at times to push the crowd behind so that they can not knock off the casket that was hosting the ODM leader Raila Odinga'S, because you were seeing the mourners, they were running high in emotions. Even some collapsed and they had to receive treatment in that stadium as well, given that they were carried away by emotions. But the reason why, viewers, if you're just joining us, that convoy is no longer moving inside the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology is that the police officers, in conjunction with the military police and other cells within KDF and the National Police Service, are trying to clear the way to allow the body to move into the venue. And also, if you're just joining us, President William Ruto is around. But Doreen, significantly, we have seen luminaries of the ODM party members, including the Secretary General Edwin Sifuna. We have witnessed the chair herself, the Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga, already arriving at the venue. Of course, we do know that Gladys Wanga and
also the Energy CS Opiyo Wandayi.
Yes, Opiyo Wandayi. And of course, you also remember that the Energy CS had to visit Opodo Farm, and he clearly stated yesterday that the ODM party will be remaining inside, or rather remaining with the arrangement that was made by Raila Odinga between him and the president. And now you can see the convoy slowly but surely moving into the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga.
And the locals, they are waving as well.
Yes, they are continuing to wave. And of course, it has been an orderly fashion, especially from the people who are standing on both ends of that particular road leading up to Jost.
You know, just as you talked about the Energy CS saying that the Orange Party will continue to remain in that formation. Remember that also CS Opiyo is among the 4 that came on board after that formation of the broad-based government. This is also what PS Omolo said yesterday with regards to that formation and whether it's going to disintegrate or remain as is. And he said that, in fact, leaders and that region as a whole will continue to remain and stay in government as is, because that was some of the questions that were coming out. Some had really seen that formation as Raila as is, and so that now he's no longer there, what remains of it. But then some of these leaders have come to assure that it will stay as is. But Hashim, as you had mentioned, the convoy had begun to move slowly, but also looks like it has stopped again. But again, the reason is just the same. Could be, as you mentioned, that they're trying to ensure that checks and balance are in place. The buses that had ferried people from far and wide, those individuals are checked in before they enter the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. You can see one local there waving. What is that?
A flag.
Yes, written
that has Baba's name and
that has Baba's name
and face.
All right, that has
indicating the 5th.
Yes, and we've seen this across. I've also seen one wearing the orange T-shirt, a significance of the color of the Orange Democratic Movement Party. This is also part of what we saw yesterday at Mamboleo Stadium. We saw a number of locals donning the orange color. Could be scarves, could be T-shirts, headbands, wristbands, just having those colors of the Orange Party, a significant party that was in that specific region. But again, that convoy has stopped a bit, perhaps just security agencies trying to ensure that the way is clear as it's moving to Jost. On the other side, you are seeing the National Assembly Speaker, Moses Wetangula, a clear indication that also various other leaders are in place, as Hashim mentioned, also the President, and obviously that means the Deputy President, as well as various other leaders who have come from different regions and different parts of the country just to come and mourn with the country after the loss of Raila Amolo Odinga.
Indeed, Doreen. And of course, what we can also confirm to you is that the vehicles that were blocking the convoy are currently being cleared to allow the convoy that is currently carrying the remains of the ODM leader Raila Odinga'S, as well as the family members who are part of that particular convoy, will be entering just any moment from now. President William Ruto is already within the vicinity. And also, interestingly, Doreen, we witnessed even yesterday where the ODM scarf that Raila normally adores, especially that he was expected to adore, and when it comes to the ODM at 20, the celebrations that they had planned down at the coast, now we wait to see what ODM will do, if the celebrations will go on even after the demise of the ODM leader Raila Odinga. It was placed on his body yesterday, even starting at Parliament buildings the following day, following Kasarani, where the people, the great people of Nairobi, were able to see the body of the ODM leader Raila Odinga. Once the casket is opened once more, we wait to see if they'll be placing the same scarf of ODM on the body of the ODM leader Raila Odinga. The convoy is starting to move on slowly once more. Already the dignitaries are seated. All the cabinet secretaries are also seated, including other leaders. We've even seen the former Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i already arriving. We have seen Roots Party leader Wajakoya and other leaders who are currently congregating them. Given that he was a father to many and a political mentor to many politicians in that particular vicinity, we will also interestingly wait to see especially the speeches. Let me rope in now Job. In terms of the speeches that we're expecting here, not aside from what the president will be, of course, giving the official speech, but in terms of the emotions that are currently running high, the speeches, how should it go? What are your predictions?
My predictions would be that people will keep to the theme that we have seen thus far, where you extol the virtues of Baba. You then try to give a rallying call to the Wananchi and the leadership so that they continue with the spirit and what Baba was championing. But just like what happens in funerals, depending on exactly who else will be allowed to speak, in that case I'm thinking of the normal state protocol, maybe the head of parliament, the head of judiciary, the head of the executive, probably with their deputy, and probably the governor of the county. That's what typically we will see.
Yes.
But because Baba was a politician, he headed a party, maybe if they extend it to some parliamentarians, especially the party leadership, then you won't be surprised if one or two of them issue something fiery.
Because we've seen even normally President William Ruto, especially when it comes to state events, if Raila Odinga was present, he used to breach protocol and allow the ODM leader Raila Odinga to speak.
So if they do that, there'll be something fiery from that. Maybe if they actually move to even parliamentary leadership, they may also do party leadership. They may decide, for instance, that Musalia, Kalonzo may also speak. Now, being recognized as party leaders, they are and people who are actually with the president in their coalition and who once worked with Baba. I remember from history, I was young, but I followed Jaramogi's funeral, and Governor Orengo took advantage of that funeral from emotional perspective to also his fiery nature. He spoke in a very fiery manner, which bordered on raising temperatures of the mourners, and it became a very serious matter. Almost degenerated into some form of animosity to the then President Moi. So those are things that can happen depending on who's given a chance and what state of emotion there will be. Yes.
And indeed, Millie, in terms of declaration, maybe perhaps even for the ODM mourners and supporters here, they're waiting for some certain of declaration here.
Yes, I hope that the messages that have been coming out through Mama Aida and through Senator Oburu has somehow reached the masses so that they will focus on celebrating the life of the departed hero and leader, and not anticipate that there's any big announcement that the party would make at this juncture, because I'm happy that the party was very quick within this short time to have a key organ meeting and to identify an acting party leader. So there's no question as to whether the party is limping or there's a vacuum. There is someone and there's an organ that will be called to then endorse, and they stated that the top organ will then perhaps endorse or not endorse that appointment in due course. So the most I would anticipate from them as far as the leadership of the party goes would be to reaffirm to people that that organ meeting will be called sooner rather than later, or in due course, maybe give direction so that there's certainty that processes will subsist as anticipated within the party structures. I'm hoping that if they do that, then we can focus until Amolo Odinga is buried on having this being just about him. He did not ask us for too much. He asked for 72 hours within which he should then be interred. If we can allow this, look at the level and extent to which truths about his character has emerged over the last few days. We do not want to so quickly again give room to people to begin their political issues. I'm sure many of us have seen the videos that have been going around of Kenyans, you know, Kenyans what to say, siwezi hama Kenya, you know, of the president practicing his speech today and the humor that they have put around that. So let focus be on, I think, the president's speech, and I'm hoping that as he did in Nyayo, that his speech is going to remain very unifying and respectful to the pain that the nation is going through at this time. And the fact that we are entering the late within the 7 days national mourning period will allow us to even continue to do this before we can wrap our heads around the issues of very important issues of succession and politics going forward.
And indeed, Job, that is what even the locals were asking for from Nairobi, Kisumu, Siaya, and across the country. That we should not use this particular opportunity for succession politics. Maybe should even the head of state continue making the speech without breaching protocol and inviting other leaders from speaking?
No, he may, in recognition of national leaders. There are some leaders who have reached that status. For instance, why I mentioned former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka. He may, just the president used to give Baba a chance in most of his level, because Baba's stature was too big to just be ignored. In this case, the president may be magnanimous and allow Kalonzo, just because he was Baba's running mate many times, to say something. Otherwise, he may just keep it strictly state, with the exception of the party leaders, not the party, the parliamentary leaders and the governor of the county, and maybe if they are representative of the foreign dignitaries, maybe they'll also be rapid from there. Yes.
And indeed, we are waiting to see that particular speech that will be made by President William Ruto. Many anticipating to see if the state will do more for the Odingas, given that it has done more for the Odinga by conferring the ODM leader Raila Odinga'S state funeral mainly reserved for former heads of state and maybe even the CDF general himself. What we witnessed with the late CDF general himself, that is Ogola, who passed on, and of course we witnessed that. A similarity to what you're witnessing on your screen is that now the convoy is slowly moving, and there you have it, Doreen. That will be the final resting place for the ODM leader Raila Odinga.
Ogi Hashim, as you rightfully put it, and Weekly for Catch tells us that right now there's minimal activities simply because all eyes currently as we speak are in Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology for the state funeral service before we head here to Kango Kajaramogi. This is the final resting place of the former Premier Raila Odinga. And you can remember, Hashim, earlier on there was some bit of a bickering on where exactly he should be buried following his will, whether it should be besides the mother side or the father side. And Oburu Oginga, the elder brother, said that he perfectly read that will and he said beside the parents. So parents could either be the mom or the dad, and they just decided to have it beside the...
Party's original bag is back, now with even more full-size sandwiches to choose from. The new spicy chicken sandwich, hot ham and cheese, hand-breaded chicken tender wrap, or charbroiled double cheeseburger. Mix and match any two with fries and a drink, just $5.99.
National Assembly of Kisumu went there to ensure that everything is in place, leaving nothing to chance. The gravesite, final resting place of Raila Odinga. And also a bit earlier yesterday, Engineer Akech, who was overseeing this process, was also trying to explain the technicalities and the technology that was used in digging that grave for the final resting place of Raila Odinga. Again, you're seeing some leaders there. That is the Attorney General Dorcas Odwor, as well as the Cabinet Secretary there, who's
for defense.
Exactly. Thank you, Hashim, for that. For defense, and you see the colors. Colors they are donned in, I mean, just also black, a sign of respect as you mourn the departed. And even as you've seen the leaders there, we're also seeing locals coming in, and we have seen security agencies directing some leaders as well as directing some of those locals who are still streaming in, trickling in their numbers to ensure they pay their last respect. And this is just 6 minutes past 9 a.m. and I can see that they're trying to stick to time. Before we came here, just inside the university, you're seeing that convoy again moving, and anytime there's a deadlock, anytime there's a stalemate, you're seeing the security agencies moving very quickly to ensure they unlock that. And again, what you're seeing is the level of cooperation coming from the locals as well. They're sticking to side by side on the road. We have not really seen any coming closer to the convoy as was in Nairobi, by the way, along Mombasa Road as well as Expressway on Thursday. So really, the security agencies, you can give it up to them today. They're really ensuring everything stays as planned and everything moves according to the time stipulated. 7 minutes past 9, and clearly trying to stay to time, because remember, this function was supposed to start at 9 a.m. and continue all the way until they head over to Kango Kajaramogi, which will be the final resting place. And if they don't do this, this can actually go until late in the night. Indeed. If they don't,
And because what I want to bring our audience up to speed with is that now the body has entered the vicinity of the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. Wadorini clearly stating that they have been able to clear.
There.
Yes, they have been able to clear their way now. The body of the ODM leader Raila Odinga and the casket housing his body is currently, it has entered the vicinity. And look at how the Kenya Defence Forces now are starting to move forward just to receive the body, of course, which they will escort it to where you're seeing it will be laid there. So that the people can also bid their farewell and as the leaders make their sentiments. But as Doreen told you a little bit earlier on, this will be a service led by the Anglican Church, given that that is the wishes of the former Premier, as well as the family who are adhering to the wishes made by the ODM leader Raila Odinga. We can confirm to you that the body has entered now Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. The hearse that is ferrying that particular body has entered, and the family members who are also in that particular convoy as well have alighted, and they're walking towards the main dais that will house them for the better part of the next few hours or so, since the service is expected to start, was expected rather to start at 9, but a few minutes to 9 a.m. rather. It is currently 9 or 9 a.m. They have already alighted, Doreen, and they're currently headed for the main dais, and the body will be escorted once more by the Kenya Defence Forces, a guard mounted to ensure. There you have it. There is the house that
moving
is bringing
very
in.
slowly as it's heading over to the tent. And look at just the military. They've really been doing this and since Thursday, moving very slowly, and I really know this is as a sign of respect. As it enters to that designated area, you're seeing the arrangement, the floral arrangement, the red carpet leading to there. The military was marching quickly to come and get the body, and now they're doing that, perhaps just trying to get it out as they head over to the resting designated area where various other leaders who perhaps have come in there will also get a chance to maybe view after the service. And this service is going to be led by the Anglican Church of Kenya. Not only just as per the wishes, but also this is because this is the church that Raila Odinga used to go to. The Anglican Church was his church since way back, and the presiding bishop, Archbishop David Kodia, also his long-time friend, is the one you saw at the Nyayo National Stadium. You saw him yesterday also at Mamboleo grounds, and you will also be seeing him today.